for the seminars. Thank you for participation.
Recording has started.
Okay, maybe a few minutes, so 4 minutes until 12:30.
Okay.
So
It's at 12:30. That's why there are 3 minutes to go. Still 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
How many participants today?
20 with us.
20.
Yeah.
And we are also waiting Murat Hoca to join us. He has a meeting, but maybe he can make it on time. We will see. But at 12:30, we are going to start, Maan Hoca.
Okay. Okay, I think we can wait a few minutes more. No problem. I think it's not closing automatically 2:30, right? 1:30, sorry.
No, Neslihan Hocam.
Okay.
You can talk longer.
No.
Can have
It's
time
not about, you know, we can.
And I saw the topic, it's not only urban planning. It's sustainable urban planning, as long as we're talking about sustainability and sustainable development goals. And that's why we prefer with Neslihan to call it sustainable urban planning, not only urban planning.
Okay. Thank you, Maan Hocam. You're right. Yes.
Yeah, but also we're gonna talk about urban planning process as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but we are focusing on sustainable urban planning.
Sustainability in urban planning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact.
Okay. The recording has already started, so I can start for today. I'm just saying welcome to our participants. This is the second day of our Nomad campus. Hello, Bengü Hocam. So this is the second day of our Nomad campus, and this is the third seminar. It will be held by Neslihan Hoca and Maan Hoca. It's about sustainable urban planning. And I'm giving you the word, Neslihan Hocam. So maybe if you can introduce yourself very short, then we can start with our seminar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elif Hocam. As first, we're gonna mention about our topic is urban planning and sustainability, and we decide to give the topic sustainable urban planning in this session. And first of all, I want to introduce myself. My bachelor degree is from Urban and Regional Planning Department. Master is about urban design, and PhD is about, again, Urban and Regional Planning Department. And I can give, Maan Hoca, you can introduce yourself and you can start to present.
Okay.
Your part.
Yes, my name is Maan Shibli, and I'm teaching at Bahçeşehir University like 5 years ago. This is my 6th year at the university. I'm an architect, a Bachelor of Architecture and Master and Doctora in Urban Planning. Our topics today will be on the sustainability in urban planning. So if you allow me to share, can I share the screen?
It should be possible.
Yes.
Pardon?
Yeah, you can share.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, hocam.
Yes.
So, as we said, the topic would be on sustainable urban planning. I will start by a citation from Jane Jacobs. Designing a dream city is easy, but rebuilding a living one, it's, more difficult. It takes imagination. Our age is an urban age. Why it's an urban age? Because the urban population is increasing and still was increasing and is increasing and will be increasing. Those are the figures up to 2050. By 2050, at the mid of the present century, like 70% of the world population will be living in cities. So it's a huge statistics which really put a lot of charge on the shoulders of the local authorities that manage cities. Why it's an urban age that we're living on or in? It is because there are challenges, and those challenges are taking place inside cities. The challenges with the globalization, even now in climate, the effect or the impact is now universal with a specific character, that the impact is larger and the impact also is greater. We see the recent events worldwide is repeated really in Asia, Europe, South America, everywhere. So we are facing an era of different of challenges of different scale and nature. When we have challenges like that, then we have to think about how to manage city on the long term, not only on the short and the medium term. So we need relevant strategies and comprehensive policies to face those challenges. So these are maps that express the urbanization development since the mid of the last century. So we see that at the beginning, the main urban centers were in North America, Europe, and Japan. And the phenomenon is still increasing. So we see that the increase in urban population everywhere. If we compare 1950 to 2015, we see a shift. In 1950, I said that main big urban centers were concentrated in North America, Europe, and Japan, while now the trend or the tendencies shifted to the east and the south. If we look to this map also, we see that the concentration of big urban centers is in China and in Japan, India, and in Nigeria, South America. What are the issues really in this urban age? So we have issues due to the climate change for sure, and to the human activities. So we have deforestations. The green cover of the planet is decreasing. We have water scarcity. In some areas of the world, it's too difficult to get clean water, and even it's difficult to get water. And we know that in certain region worldwide, the water scarcity will be increasing. So this would be really a global problem. Waste, for sure, waste in terms of nature, quantity, and types. They are everywhere. air pollution, informal growth of areas, and this is a tendency is witnessed in the third world, really, cities, big cities. This is in India, and the growth in urban population. It's or the growth in population and growth in urban population at the same time. So we are facing risks like hurricanes. They are more frequent and more intense. Tropical storms, now it's really everywhere worldwide. It's not only last century, it was concentrated in certain areas in the globe. Air pollution, we talk about that. Wildfire, and we know this is a really a big problem, especially in summertime. Extreme temperatures, wintertime and summertime. Just to know that last week in Paris was 42, so it's not normal temperature in the month of June. And the ice melting. The ice melting is a big problem also. So we have to have a balanced behavior to keep our planet safe. If we have a balanced behavior, the picture would be like that. And if not, it turns to be like this. So we are in a turning point, and this turning point we have to be aware about the future of our planet. This is 2 or 3 years ago in Venice. I mean, it's people are enjoying because it's happened for a short period of time. But imagine if there would be a rise of sea level, Venice would be always like that. And the worst example is the Netherlands. If the sea level rose for 1 meter, now the future Netherlands would be in light gray. This is the future Netherlands in case of the rise of the sea level. So it touches heavily the Netherlands, and it touches also a lot of coastal cities worldwide. What are our aspirations? So we have to look for the quality. We have to look for quality and to a friendly urbanism. There are different roles of cities, or cities are playing different roles than before. We have to look to the entertainment leisure part, the behavior and consumption of the locals, as well as for the tourists for sure. There is so far not a clear demarcation between the leisure and workplace, work time, and the work activities. The activities, according to Gale, we have necessary activities, we have optional activities, and we have social activities. So cities and urban planner must really focus on pedestrians and must focus on sustainability and healthy cities, which means more walkable places on the overall image of walkability inside a city. So we need, as our aspiration, to have a resilient city, our aspiration to have really a lively city like that, and a safe city, and a healthy city, for sure. A healthy city means healthy citizens, and healthy citizens, it's really a motor for catalyzer for a good economy. An attractive city, for sure. We will see the branding the city is something now important. We'll see this later. And for sure, a sustainable city at the end. So planning, we have urban and we have planning, for sure. We talk about part of the sustainable issues. The planning, normally planning in general is a dynamic profession because it's always constantly changing. We are forecasting the future of the cities, the future of the mankind, the future, which means the shape and the silhouette of cities. In shaping cities, we are also shaping communities, the planners. The urban planning is not only a technical operation, it's also a political operation. So in planning, we are looking for good choices, better choices for the future of our city, future of the citizens, good quality of life. So we have to find a right balance between the land uses inside our city. Why do we need planning? Because really it's a very complex operation. You see here the number of circles, and they are always interconnection in between them, and we see the network of interconnection between those planning domains. We need planning to create a healthy condition for the people, a healthy city. We need planning to create proper use for the right zoning and purpose, to ensure the development would be in order, and no encroachment between land uses, and for sure preserving certain character of the city, or why not changing the present character of a city. So when we plan and when we don't plan, this is the differences between the two images. Urban planning. So the definition of planning, urban planning, as I mentioned, it's a technical and political process at the same time, because we are guiding, technically, we are guiding the use of the land and the development of the urban environment. It's political because it is normally the public sector who lead this operation of the city development. It's a cross-sector because normally urban planning requires teamwork. It's not only one or several specialties, a lot of specialties, and they are all interconnected. So we need cross-sector planning, cross-sector analysis. Urban planning, there's differences between urban planning and urban design. Urban planning is two-dimensional, which means we are producing plans and we are producing reports explaining the future development of the city, sorry. The third dimension is given by the urban designers. Urban designer describe the city shape or the neighborhood shape. Urban planners give normally densities, and the role of urban designer to create not a homogeneous shape inside an area. We will see it a little bit later, but the three-dimensional is so. Generally speaking, urban planning is two-dimensional. Urban design is three-dimensional. Urban planning is a policy that shapes the urban development, but the urban designer is really the physical form, giving the physical forms of the city. Just to mention that urbanism, we are talking about the physical aspect of the city, but or how the people would interact with the built environment, while the urbanization is it's the meaning of urbanization is the growth of the urban population vis-a-vis the rural population. In planning, we have levels. So we have an area level. It could be a piece of a neighborhood. We have a local level. It's one neighborhood or several ones. And the urban level. The urban level means generally the administrative border of a city. Then the metropolitan, which include the city and the surrounding that are affected by the city itself. And then at the end, regional. It's regional. It has several connotations. First, it is the administrative or regional administrative border of the region, for sure, city and the region. But sometimes it has economic background, not only technical. So we define the planning, we define the urban planning. What is the sustainability in urban planning? The referring to the SDGs, we see that urban planning in 17's goals, the urban planning is mainly interacted with most of them, if not all of them, directly. I mean, I'm pointing by the circles to the interaction. So if we talk about health, if we talk about poverty, if we talk about climate action, life on land, it's mainly with the creating sustainable cities and communities, but also if we talk about infrastructure, the economic growth, and clean water and sanitation, it touches the urban planning area. So the sustainable urban planning touches most of the SDGs of the sustainable development. So the definition, the common definition is the development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the future generation to meet their needs. So from these definition, we can extract three main keywords: development, needs, and future generations. Um, Development, it's qualitative concept. Is different than the growth. The growth is quantitative, and the development is qualitative concept related to the improvement and the progress of the socio-economic, the cultural, and the economic dimension of the city. While the growth is only the quantitative physical expansion of the system. The needs reflect the equal distribution of the resources for sure, and the future generation raised the concept of equality. In some aspects, equity, not only equality. Equality would be not enough. So equity between generations. The sustainability normally has three main areas: economy, environment, and the social. I added the administrative because managing the sustainable urban development needs a strong administration behind. I'm talking about the local authority. So normally why we talk about sustainable urban planning, because the classical planning in the 50s, 60s, 70s of the last century, the zoning takes each one of the land use separately. So all aspects of the urban development would be taken separately, while the sustainable urban planning, it's more comprehensive, more integrated concept, incorporating at the same time socio-economic, socio-cultural, environmental, and administrative influence. And those urban planning, we have to think about sustainable way. I'm speaking here of the period of time. Then it is known as the urban footprint. So the urban footprint of cities is it's urban footprint. We will see it later. I'll begin with the economic sustainability. Why we do need this sustainable economy? Because without money we cannot make improvement. City cannot make improvement in infrastructure, cannot make improvement in services, cannot make improvement in job creation unless have the resources. And we know that cities now have difficulties in ensuring sustainable finance. So it's now not easy to get resources, financial resources, to provide the necessary urban services. We need economic sustainability because in creating those services and activities, we are creating at the same time jobs. There are always newcomers to the city. We have to think about them from the countryside, sometimes migration, sometimes immigration if you're talking about a big city. So there's an economic role that the city has to play in developing resources to respond to all these responsibilities, new responsibilities. And as long as the phenomena of urbanization is continuing, and we see until 2050, it will. So thinking about how we can sustain our financial resources, our economic our urban economy, the city urban economy, is very important. And we're not talking only about finance, we're talking about economy, because sometimes there is a shift in the role of the city. And this shift in a role has to be achieved on land. So the urban planning is anyway integrated within these processes. If a city decided to improve the industrial sector, then they do need areas as industrial cities or industrial areas. So urban planners has to take this into consideration. Same if the city considered to shift its economy from the industry to the tertiary sector, so they need areas for the development of this third sector of the economy. So this is from one side. From the other side is there's a shift of role of a lot of cities from production center to a consumption center. So in order to ensure sustainability in the economy, you have to think about three main keywords. Is flexibility, which means we have to be flexible to deal with the economy. The flexibility of the local authority towards investment, local international investment. Second is the density. This is an indicator reflect the density of the urban economy. And the third one is diversity. We have to think as a city have to think about diversify their resources to ensure a constant financial good financial situation of the city. They have to look in this diversity and flexibility, so have to look of mixture of those resources from different sectors. Finally, these economic sustainability could not be achieved alone, so the city has to cooperate in locally and has to cooperate internationally. Now, most of the city are competing in the cultural aspects, included to ensure this economic sustainability of the city. So each city has a cultural role, and in a way, the local authorities can make a city promotion of this cultural role, and this cultural role could promote also tourism. Cultural tourism is expanding, and tourism in general is expanding worldwide. And sometimes architecture could play this role in developing the cultural role of the city. And the most illustrative example is Bilbao. When the city built the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, the city witnessed an increase in the tourism coming, and not only an increase in number, they extend their stay in Bilbao exclusively to see Guggenheim Museum. So this is a statistic from 2019. 82% of tourists came to Bilbao exclusively to see Guggenheim Museum, and they are extended their stay to see it. So we see that the impact of an architectural project, this is the cultural aspects of the city, to develop the resources, local resources. The social sustainability, this is we're talking about the social needs. Population socially needs education, health, entertainment, and other. So classical planning used to separate them, but the sustainable planning used to include those population in the process in the beginning. So they now authorities needs to that the population is participating in the operation, and they at the same time they are empowering them to have a decisive role in what's happening in their neighborhood or in their cities. So the classical zoning of the classical urban planning created different social classes inside the city. So in order to achieve sustainability in the social sector, we have to look for the personality of the neighborhoods to create a sense of belonging. And this could come also from creating public places inside neighborhoods. This focus point or focal areas or lines of contact or conversions can create a sense of belonging to the neighborhood, to the city, and socially the citizens feel what they seem themselves responsible. So because they are considered as citizens and not only resident. Administrative, we know that behind all that we need a well-trained, well-equipped local administration to supervise first, to carry this new load on the shoulder, and to sustain this coping with the social development, the urban planning development, economic development, and others. So we need to empower the local authority. So they need to make a power transfer or power delegation at the minimum, and then they should be trained and should be equipped to receive these new responsibilities. And one of the indicators of this administrative sustainability is the existence of local network, and international or national and international network between the urban development partners. We know because the local authorities and the city in general cannot achieve everything alone. So they need assistance from the stakeholders of the urban development partners. So we have to coordinate. Monitoring the operation is also needed. It requires transparency. So the good urban management at the end require transparency, information, and those information should be coordinated administratively and to create what we call information and communication strategies. Without a strategy for information, a strategy for communication, it's hard to think comprehensively of all the domains of the urban development. At the last, this is the environmental sustainability. Okay, we were talking about how the city is formed, and the form of the city has impact on the on its environmental performance for sure. Location of services, accessibility to those services, the outskirt of the areas normally in big cities are fulfilled of informal settlements. So we have to have policies for proactive planning for those areas. When we develop our cities, we have to think about carrying capacity. For sure, the capacity of the local authority to carry this new responsibility administratively and financially. And also, here we're talking about the environmental sustainability. We have to think about the carrying capacity of the ecosystem that support this development. Environmental sustainability would refer to use of alternative energies or renewable energies to reduce the negative effect on the environment. So how we can intervene in planning? We can intervene on mainly two levels. It's the master planning level and detailed urban plans, which translated into urban design level. So the master planning. So master planning, it's generally it's an urban development. It's defined by a period of time. It starts by consultation on what is the future role of the city, what the future role would be assigned the city, or what the future role that we will as local actors, that we want that the city would play on the local level, on the regional level, even at the national level. And if we're talking about city of Istanbul, we have to think about mainly regional and international level. So the current situation of the city is to be discussed: the geographical position, footprint, services, the economic situation, population growth, urban development, the growth mechanism, and also, so the footprint, these are the footprints of several cities worldwide. We will discuss mainly a bit later. And domains to consider on the, when we do master planning, we have to consider the regional level, because there are some transportation and energy project that normally happens outside the city. And when we do master planning, we enlarge the borders of the cities. So we have to be careful about that. On the local level, we have to think about all aspects of land uses and about the city radiances in terms of economy, for sure, impact. So here, when you talk about urban footprint, we talk about density, and you see that from, for example, Dhaka has about 13 million of inhabitants, and Houston it has only 5 million, roughly speaking. And you see the difference in the urban footprint between the two cities. So density has a vital role in creating the urban footprint form of a city. Density is an indicator only, it's not a design tool. These are examples. Here we have densities of persons are the same, but the dwellings are not the same. So different type of plans bring about, even if they bring about the same number of persons, but they bring about different dwelling density. Here's the same. We're talking about the same, exactly the same shape, but the interior design is different. So as form is same, but the dwelling is not the same. And when we have more dwelling, we have more population. So density is only an indicator. The design is up to the urban designer. Here, this is a master plan, and normally master plan, we define land uses that have colors, and we defined densities in each area, densities per hectare. So now we shall look to, so this is a master plan. This is a very big area, and just look to this area as a plan. So normally it's given 200. It's referred to the same density, 200 person per hectare. This is the urban planner, but the urban designer is free. He could or she or they could give homogeneous plans, or they can diversify, like here. For example, we see that the urban footprint of each one of these plans are not the same. If we look to this area, and in general, it's like that. It's divided into four main urban types: villas, detached apartment, attached apartment, and twin houses, townhouses. And each one of them has different density, but the overall density should be 200, like the overall density. If we talk about the area entirely. When we do master planning, the sustainability is not only respecting social and environment and administrative and economy. The way that we achieve our maps, our plannings, is also decisive and very important. It's create sustainability from another point of view. We will see. If you are producing master plan, and we see the detailed plan at the urban design level, so we can, using design tool like GIS, you can create thematic maps like the structural condition of a neighborhood, the building heights of the neighborhood, property types, building forms, plot areas, land use, and so on. So you have to create according to the information that we introduce to the system, so we can have a lot of thematic maps. So those thematic maps are very important to give us an idea about what's happening in this neighborhood. But we can refer to queries. What is the benefit of having those queries? Queries have levels. For example, we are looking for a school in this area, and we don't want to buy a piece of land, so we look for public ownership. And we don't look for public ownership, any kind of public ownership. We have to look for vacant parcels. So we can give to the system that we are looking for public ownership, and we are looking for vacant parcels. And you see in red all the public ownership plots and vacant parcels. But this is a kind of queries at the beginning. If we add another one, which means a public ownership, vacant parcels, but we need plot area, which means we can give them like 2,000 square meter. So we have those plots areas that are public ownership, vacant parcels, they are empty, and they have 2,000 square meters and above. This is 3-level query. We can add 4 levels queries. Like here, we talk about building conditions. So we are looking for a rehabilitation plan of this neighborhood, piece of neighborhood. So we are looking for building with bad condition, building with more than 3 floors, because we can assume that 3 floors and below, they could enjoy. This is, by the way, an informal settlement. So the more we go higher, the less we are safe. So and then plot areas, and at the end, this is the built before. For example, we can give them, we can give to the system here, I mean in between. Then we will have all those colorful buildings that are in bad condition, that are more than 3 floors, and they have certain plot area, and then built in certain years. So these queries enable us to take, for example, a good decision and a quick decision. Sometimes sustainability, if we are achieving our plans quickly, then this is sustainability, because if we are not achieving our plans quickly, then the shape of the neighborhood would be changed in a lapse of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. At the end, for example, we're looking to provide this area in schools. So we're giving queries like that, and we are adding the radius, captation radius. Normally in school is 150 meters. And this captation radius, in giving this query, and in one click, we will have the area covered by the schools, location of schools at the beginning, and the area covered by school. And we just observe quickly and instantly the areas that are not covered by school inside neighborhoods, which means not covered by the captation radius. Children has not to walk more than 150 meters to reach to their school. I mean, on foot. This is the one of the standards. I mean, there are a lot of standards worldwide. So sustainability here comes from taking a proper decision, and come from taking a quick decision, and come from taking a comprehensive decision, because in analyzing the areas that are next to this neighborhood, we can provide schools that radius that can cover those areas which are not covered by this school. So this is the final slide. Using the tool, GIS tools, is help us to create or to take a good decision and a right decision and a quick decision. So normally in these we looked for an urban management. We are not looking for really crisis management. In order to create a balanced growth, we have to think about urban management, because crisis management is normally, unfortunately, are practiced by a lot of cities in worldwide. When we have problem, then we have rushed to find a solution for this problem without any plans, and we finish at the end by having not a very good and sustainable solution. Thank you. This is my intervention. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry to take longer than it was expected.
It's okay, Maan Hocam. Thank you for your
Thank
presence.
you. Thank you, Maan Hocam. There is a question asked by Tehmina Faisal. Which software is that in which we can insert level queries?
I think
Uh,
at the end he said GIS tools. I get at the end, right?
Yes.
He
Oh,
just
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah, I got
It's
it.
a GIS
Thank you.
system.
Archive, Maan?
Yeah, it's an ArcView. I mean, there are a lot of systems that give the same.
Yeah.
The same. I mean, no matter what is the name of the system you are using GIS system is to give this possibility of creating. I mean, taking a good, proper decision and taking a good and a quick decision about. Imagine yourself reviewing these maps manually and reviewing the location of the schools manually, and then calculating the radius of the captation radius of each one of those schools manually. Then it will take really time. Then in system like GIS, you could take it with writing a query and one click. So it's not more than let's say 1 to 2 minutes. This is it. So this is another aspect of sustainability, another dimension of sustainability. Here I'm referring to the administrative sustainability and referring to well-equipped and well-equipped local administration to play a good role.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think I can start, right?
Yes, Hocam. Yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Just a quick question. I had to write an exam and I wrote an email. Could you just quick repeat in maybe 3 sentences what happened so far?
So maybe now we had our first part of the third presentation, and we are continuing with the second part of the third presentation about sustainable urban planning. But it's like that. The sessions are recorded, and we already shared a link, a YouTube channel link. So, and you can rewatch everything anytime you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elif Hocam, there is also one more question in the chat box.
Okay, teacher, what is the difference between an eco-city and a symbio-city?
I think Neslihan would tackle this in her presentation.
I think the question is we are discussing that also. Symbiosis and ecology, they are together, I think. You know, we have lots of terms about it, but if we look at the background and their aims and goals are the same. For example, Astana Plan of Krukova, we can see is a eco-city and also use symbiosis and this kind of approaches in the planning process. Okay, can I start?
Yes, Hocam. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Maan Hocam, thank you for your comprehensive presentation about the planning. And now I'm going to mention about the dimensions and indicators of sustainable development first. And Manuja also mentioned about the definition of sustainability, that we took generally the definition from the Brundtland report. And yeah, what is urban planning? Manuja explained very well. I'm just talking about the steps here. Is first of all, the planning process, we have to define the goal, conceptual goal. And after that, decision-making process is coming. And I think it's the most challenging part of the process. We are formulating the hypothesis first, and observation survey and data collection is coming after. And the results of analysis, we are testing the hypothesis. If we need to change it and find new and alternative hypothesis. Then after that, at the end of this process, choosing and selection part is coming, this step. And after we select and which one is, proper for the planning, and we are defining our projections for the future. The process exactly, urban planning process, the first to see the physical and social realities in the area, to determine the physical and social realities in the area, to define, to preserve and protect the local regional identity, and to describe the development strategies for it. In art, when we come to our topic, sustainable development, as we know, have 4 main dimensions: environmental, social, economic, and institutional. And when we look at the details of each dimension, what we are focusing on, environmental parts includes water, mobility and transport, waste, air quality, energy, land use, climate change, emissions, noise, biodiversity, environment, natural disaster, ecological footprint, soil. These kind of thematic categories underneath of the environmental dimension we are seeing. The economic dimension includes economy, employment, global appeal, of course, and economic structure, materials, and products. Social dimension includes education, health, housing, safety and security, equity, social infrastructure, green space, culture, technology and innovation, well-being, demography, population, of course, poverty and social inclusion. The institutional part includes participation, public participation and community engagement also, and urban planning, of course, urban design underneath of it, environmental management, governance, finance, and transparency. Generally, in this sustainable urban planning process, we are generally, when we look at the examples, reduction of the energy use, minimizing of the effects on natural areas and ecosystem, minimizing of the consumption, using local resources properly and protect them, and normally, to focusing on local values and local resources, and of course related to the nature, another one. Of course, when we are defining the strategies, it's different in poor countries, developing countries, and rich countries and cities, of course. Here, the principles for sustainable regional development, I'm quickly mention about that in that skill. 5 categories we have. The first one, ecological restoration and urban infill. It includes environmental impact and risk issues, water resource, air quality, greenhouse gas emissions, ecological restoration. The second one is about land development and integration of urbanization and industrialization. This includes urban density, local employment, mixed-use development, transit-oriented development, underground spaces, and green finance. The third one, livable cities and healthy buildings. Of course, it includes non-motorized transportation, dynamic urban spaces that Manuja explained, the first part. Landscape design, slow traffic systems, and of course, smart cities in this part, and green buildings and green communities. Environmental protection and resource recycling part includes, of course, reuse, reduce, and recycle.
Excuse me, Neslihan Hocam, for interrupting. Are you continuing with your slides?
Yeah.
Because we see the fourth one on the screen. I see just slide. Excuse me. So,
sorry for that.
I don't know. Doesn't matter, Hocam.
It is seeing right now?
I see still the fourth slide.
Okay, I'll try to. Oh, sorry for that. I'm sharing again, I hope. Now?
I'm waiting. It's still black, but it will come.
11 right now.
No, I don't see it. Hocam.
How can I do that? Because it's the first time I'm facing this problem.
Are you sharing via screen share, or are you sharing the presentation?
I'm sharing my screen.
It's not visible.
Still is not?
Sometimes it helps if you take PDF because you don't have that data amount which you upload.
I'm using this system. It's the first time.
Yes, we are using for the lectures and so on, but today I don't know why.
Is it still not seeing?
I don't see it. I don't see it, Hocam. Hocam, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe yes, converting to PDF to reduce the data amount could help. And continuing via PDF.
Okay, I'll try it.
Sometimes if we have international guests on our Archidesign talks, it may happen from time to time.
Okay, I'm trying to convert it to PDF. As I didn't think it's the first time I'm facing this problem.
Hocam, hi. When you click on the share button, you would see some options.
Okay.
And these options include only sharing your screen or some pages.
Okay.
Maybe you could just choose all your screen. Just click on the screen when you click on share.
Okay, now
now it is a black screen on our side, so it's not visible at the moment.
Now can you see it?
It's still black, Neslihan Hocam.
No, which option did you choose?
Screen.
Screen. Okay, let's try the other way. Maybe you can just, are you using Microsoft PowerPoint?
PDF and PowerPoint, both of them now I have.
Maybe you can just select the document, only the document.
Which is the Windows or screen
Yes,
and Windows?
click on the
Windows
and choose the intended document.
Okay.
Yes, now we can see it.
Can we see it?
Yes,
PDF?
we see the Nomad Campus presentation PDF.
Okay, okay. Okay, I passed this part. Sorry for that. And now I think I was the third one. Am I right? Yeah, the whole screen, can you see? Now is better, I think. Can you see the principles for sustainable regional development, livable cities and healthy buildings?
I just see a title, Sustainable Development.
How we can? Now?
We are between the second and the third page, hocam. Maybe you scroll down. You may scroll down.
Now, in my screen, I'm seeing like that, but
Maybe
sorry.
there's a problem with Neslihan's Teams.
Yes.
She might send the moderator the PDF file, maybe.
Okay, maybe I can send it. I can send it.
Do you want me to open the presentation?
The last version. Okay, maybe not the last one is you have. I can send it to you, Man.
Okay.
I will try again the presentation screen. Sorry. Now, can you see it? Can you see my presentation?
No, hocam. Maybe it's better if Man can share the presentation for you.
Okay, sorry, we lost time.
Doesn't matter.
Yes. I don't know why. It's first time, really first time I'm facing. Maan hocam is coming from WhatsApp. Just a few seconds. I think you got it. Mom, do you
Yeah,
have?
I'm opening.
Okay. Okay.
So is it visible?
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
me.
yes, we can see.
Yeah.
Where to move to which one?
As you pass, please pass. Animation, pass, and here. Yeah.
Okay.
The before that. Okay. The 4 and 5 topics I didn't mention: environmental protection and resource recycling, the principles of sustainable regional development. The last two categories about that. Of course, we know reduce, reuse, recycle are really important keywords about sustainability. But I think we have to focus on reduce one more, because it's, the recycling, we can't recycle everything, but we can reduce. And renewable energy, of course, and sustainable urbanization, that Maan Hoca mentioned about that. And social inclusiveness and cultural promotion part includes public participation in planning in different skills, and of course, local cultural features as well. Mom, now I'm going to mention about the strategies of sustainable urban planning. These 7 strategies from Peter Kaltorp, Urban Footprint organization, he defined 7 strategies. And the first one is make connections in the sustainable urban planning process. The second one, college data. The third one, solve for the future. For build scenarios, seek co-benefits, be a generalist, think beyond horizons. And could you pass? When we look at the details of connections, make connections, we are always emphasizing the significance of connectivity and connections as well. And what kind of connections? These are between people and place, between set of information, between solutions that reinforce each other. Connections between people, that means different age groups, income levels, races, cultural backgrounds. We have to connect them. And connection to the natural environment, of course, we have to protect the natural environment inside the cities. Also, we have to bring natural environment in the built environment as well. Connection to history, that means we need to know about the past, historical background, because it's important to develop some strategies for the future. We should learn from the past, and we have to protect the historical values and cultural values as well, coming from the history. And connection to the local culture. Yes, local culture is really important. Okay, we are talking about the integration to the global world, but it doesn't mean local values are not really important. They are really important, and we have to emphasize, we have to protect them and to integrate the global world with that. And connection to goods and services. Maan Hocam, could you pass? And these generally, they are places that connect ideas, that foster innovations. Also, the places mix the foreign and with the local culture as well. This kind of connections also part of it. And connecting information in ways that create insight is fundamental to understanding and design. Could you pass? College data includes integrate data to reveal patterns, educate stakeholders, and extend boundaries. That means we have to find out the useful information. We have a lot of data and information, and we have to use them. And Manoja showed the GIS examples, how we use it. It's really important in this age, let's say. Can you pass? The third one, solve for the future. Of course, we cannot understand the efficacy of new strategies and infrastructure without setting them in a future framework. And it's not enough to focusing on the existing one. If we're talking about sustainable urban planning, the future perspective is going to be really important. And that means future land use pattern, future circulation system, the next generation of investment systems and policies, really important. We need long-term strategies for the future. Of course, we should test the strategies today for their future validity. Could you pass? And scenarios, always we are talking about the scenarios in urban design studios, urban planning process. We're testing various strategies, trying to define the extremes and thresholds in the process, and we are trying to find the optimum solution. Not always the ideal one, the optimum one. Sometimes, yeah, is the solution. And yeah, see co-benefits, that means, shaping the future of the city depends on consensus and coalitions. It's essentially a political act. And plan is a very important political tool that Manoja mentioned about it. In this process, of course, public participation and community engagement under this strategy is going to be important as the main parts of that. Manoja. Be a generalist. Planners and designers are inherently generalists. They must integrate across issues, disciplines, and interest groups. It's a kind of multidisciplinary work, planning work. And we should analyze and integrate multiple metrics in this process. Could you pass, Manoja? Of course, the last one, think beyond horizons, is about the stretch boundaries, expand timeframes, and connect the dots. As we are talking about the global scale and integration to it, local to global, different scales, we should focus on. And yeah, could you pass, Manoja? We realize, I'm just quickly I want to mention about pandemic and city relation, because if we are talking about sustainable urban planning, as we just passed this period, I hope we passed, but it may be still, as the pandemic period shows us lots of things about urban planning and urban design. We realized again the importance of sustainable planning and design in the pandemic period, unfortunately. Could you pass? Generally, hotspots of COVID-19 infections, they are cities. Could you pass? And when we, in the pandemic period, we just, we saw, we can categorize the themes that in four groups: environmental quality, socioeconomic impact, management and governance, transportation, and urban design. Could you pass? And these are the subcategories of it: social impacts and economic impacts under socioeconomic impacts. Of course, environmental quality includes air quality, environmental factors, and water resources. And management and governance, smart cities and governance, we can see, and transportation and urban design, the other categories. Could you pass? Yeah, wake up call. Everybody knows during the period, and what the cities just try to say us, maybe the sustainable planning and design is a fact, and we have to do it. Now, it's inevitably we have to follow the principles of sustainable urban planning and urban design. Could you pass, please? This is, from Istanbul. What changed the pandemic? The air quality and the very, very clear photograph is impossible now. Like this, fine, like this. Okay, can you pass? The existing knowledge shows that the COVID-19 crisis entails an excellent opportunity for planners and policymakers to take transformative actions toward creating cities that are more just, resilient, and sustainable. What we learned from the pandemic, could you pass? Yeah, about the air quality, the first topic under the environmental quality, greening the transportation and industry sectors, some kind of recommendation. This is part of sustainable planning as well. Holistic approaches to pollution mitigation are needed. Yes, reducing air pollution can contribute to reducing transmission and mortality. These are also part of the sustainable urban planning. Could you pass? You can pass that. And urban water cycle part, minimize negative agricultural, industrial, and traffic impacts on water resources should be prioritized. Sufficient disinfection of water plants and wastewater treatment plants and measures. Could you pass? The social impact includes, also Manuja mentioned about that also, more inclusive actions towards reducing inequalities and addressing the needs of vulnerable groups should be prioritized. Slum upgrading, another part of it. Enhancing the sense of community, of course. Could you pass? You can pass. Before one, I think.
This one?
Yeah. And economic impact, when we look at it, diversifying urban economic structure, this is important. Vulnerable and marginalized groups are part of it. Transformation to more of a local supply chain that increases self-sufficiency, because we face a lot of problem about the global chain supply. Global supply chain part, we face a lot of problems about that. Okay, you can pass. A governance part, of course, long-term visioning and integrated urban governance enhance adaptive capacity. Local governments, local authorities must be very important part of it and support the vulnerable groups because they know very well. And local leadership and community engagement, again, they are important issues in that part. Could you pass, please? And smart cities, of course, we are using lots of applications, especially the beginning of the pandemic period. Public access to real-time georeference data, techno-driven approaches, and this kind of things underneath of this topic. Could you pass? And of course, transportation part, smart mobility, public transportation, and let's say encouraging cycling and walking. Walkable cities, compact cities generally became a very important issue. I have to say that in that point, you know, three things are for the planning became a little bit problematic in pandemic period, but we still follow this. The first one, public transportation, but always we support that because we need it. But smart public transportation methods maybe we can use in this kind of lockdown periods. And the other thing, mixed use, because the COVID-19 became a very big problem in the mixed use areas. The numbers very, very high in that areas. But mixed use, we are also suggesting mixed use as well. And some kind of, some level of density and vertical developments, of course, inevitably we have to. Depends how you plan, how you design it. Okay, Manujan. And yeah, better access is a key point, compact urban development, and pedestrianized areas, and public open spaces and green spaces. Could you pass, please? Yeah, you can pass. These photographs are from the period we got used to see that. And it's, it's sustainable urban planning should consider, of course, this kind of recent developments as well for the future. Could you pass? Yeah. The other topic I want to pass quickly because I think time finished. The only why we need smart cities, the need to handle the global environment and urbanization problems, the need to accommodate changing lifestyles, the need for a long-term approach to developing sustainable cities. You can pass, Manojam, quickly. Okay, you can pass it because we talk about a lot of strategies here. Yeah, smart cities, I think, a part of the sustainable cities. We can separate them. You can pass, Manojam, some slides about that. If you want to add something, Manojam, you can add. And of course, smart applications we use. We can we group in 5 smart city, 5 let's say categories. Smart mobility, one of them. Some examples you can see here. You can pass. Smart government, using some kind of applications like that. And smart living is like that. Smart environment, you can pass. A lot of examples about that. Smart economy, using that. Natural disaster, and some kind of applications for it. You can pass that. And some kind of smart applications showed up, especially in the pandemic period, in different countries and different cities. Could you pass? I think you can pass after that because some examples here, and it's a Turkish one has example, and drone use, another thing. At the end, we can say that, we need better air quality, some low-rise buildings, if we can do that, refocusing on green spaces, self-sufficient strategies, expanding generally horizontally, but sometimes vertically. Fewer density cities, if we can do that. Decentralization, of course, in a proper way. Urban farming is a reality anymore. And of course, car-free cities we are expecting. Yeah, I finished my presentation. Thank you, Manu Hocam, and sorry for these technical difficulties. Took time and interrupt the presentation and the flow.
No problem, Neslihan Hocam. I think we all are used during the pandemic period on such technical issues. Thank you for the nice presentation. Thank you very much. And thank you, Manu Hocam, also. Maybe very, very fast, can I ask the audience, do you have questions?
Tanya, yes.
Tanya
No,
says
don't.
thank you.
My name is indeed Tanya. I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
So
it was that I saw the screen. That was that, yes, 12:31. So a time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then thank you very much, hocalarım, and thank you, audience. We are going to meet each other in 40 minutes again. So 2:30 for the next presentation. So, and this session has been recorded, and as soon as possible, it will be uploaded to YouTube account. So I already shared the link prior. It's somewhere in the chat box. But if you cannot find it, please remind me to share it again in the next session. Thank you, hocalarım. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.